Okay, March 29th, Deuteronomy 11, through 12:32. Therefore you shall love the Lord your God and keep his charge, his statutes, his judgments, and his commandments always. Know today that I, Moses, do not speak with your children who have not known or who have not seen the chastening of the Lord your God, his greatness and his mighty hand and his outstretched arm, his signs and his acts which he did in the midst of Egypt, to Pharaoh king of Egypt, and to all of his land, what he did to the army of Egypt, to their horses and to their chariots, how he made the waters of the Red Sea overflow them as they pursued you, and how the Lord destroyed them to this day, what he did for you in the wilderness until you came to this place, and what he did to Dathan and Ephraim and the sons of Eliab, the sons of Reuben, how the earth opened its mouth and swallowed them up, their households, their tents, and all the substances that was in their possession in the midst of Israel. But your eyes have seen every great act which the Lord which he did. Therefore, you shall keep every commandment which I have commanded you today, that you may be strong, and go in and possess the land which you cross over to possess, and that you may prolong your days in the land which the Lord swore to give your fathers, to them and to their descendants, a land flowing with milk and honey, a land which you go to possess, is not like the land of Egypt, which you have come, where you have sowed your seed and watered it by foot as a vegetable garden, but the land in which you cross over to possess, a land of hills and valleys, which drinks water from rain from heaven, a land from which the Lord your God cares. The eyes of the Lord your God are always on it, from the beginning of the year to the very end of the year. And it shall be that if you earnestly obey my commandments, which I command you today, to love the Lord your God, and to serve him with all your heart and with all your soul, then I will give you rain for your land in its season, in the early rain and the latter rain, that you may gather your grain, your new wine, and your oil. And I will send grass in your fields for your livestock, that you may eat and be filled. Take heed to yourself, lest your heart be deceived, and you turn aside to serve other gods and worship them. Lest the Lord's anger be aroused against you, and he shut up the heavens, so there be no rain, and the land yield no produce, and you perish quickly from the good land which the Lord is giving you. Therefore you shall lay up these words of mine in your heart and in your soul, and bind them as a sign in your hand, and they shall be frontlets between your eyes. You shall teach them to your children, speaking of them when you sit in your house, when you walk on your way, when you lie down, and when you rise up. And you shall write them on the doorposts of your houses and on your gates, in the days, in your days, and the days of your children may be multiplied in the land which the Lord swore to your fathers to give them, like the days of heaven above the earth. For if you carefully keep these commandments which I command you to do, to love the Lord your God, to walk in all of his ways, to hold fast to him, then the Lord will drive out these nations from before you, and you will dispossess greater and mightier nations than yourselves. Every place on which your sole of your foot treads shall be yours. From the wilderness of Lebanon, from the river to the river Euphrates, even to the western sea, shall be your territory. No man shall be able to stand against you. The Lord your God will put the dread of you and the fear of you upon the land which you tread, just as he said to you. Behold, I set before you today a blessing and a curse. The blessing, if you obey the commandments of the Lord your God, which I command you today, and the curse, if you do not obey the commandments of the Lord your God, but turn aside from which I command you today, to go after other gods from which you have not known. Now it shall be, when the Lord your God has brought you into the land which you go to possess, that you shall put the blessing on Mount Gezer and the curse on Mount Elam. They are not on the other side of the Jordan. Are they not on the other side of the Jordan, towards the setting sun, the land of the Canaanites who dwelt in the place opposite of Gilead, beside the terebinth tree of Moreth? For you will cross the Jordan and go over and possess the land which the Lord your God is giving you, and you will possess it and dwell in it, and you shall be careful to observe all the statutes and judgments which I set before you today. These are the statutes and the judgments which you shall be careful to observe in the land of the Lord your God of your fathers is given you to possess all the days which you live on earth. You shall utterly destroy the places where the nations which you shall dispossess serve their gods, on the high mountains and on the hills under every green tree. And you shall destroy their altars, break their sacred pillars, and burn their wooden images with fire. You shall cut down the carved images of their gods and destroy their names from that place. You shall not worship the Lord your God with such things, but you shall seek the place where the Lord your God chooses out of all your tribes to put his name on his dwelling place. And there you shall go. There you shall take a burnt offering, your sacrifices, your tithes, the heave offering of your hand, your vowed offerings, your freewill offerings, and the firstborn of your herds and flocks. And there you shall eat before the Lord your God, and you shall rejoice in all which you have put to your hand, you and your households in which the Lord your God has blessed you. You shall not do as we are all doing here today, every man doing whatever is right in his own eyes. For as of yet, you have not come to the rest of your inheritance which the Lord your God has given you. But when you cross over the Jordan and dwell in the land which the Lord your God has given you to inherit, and he gives you rest from your enemies round about, so that you dwell safely, then there will be the place where the Lord your God has chosen you to make his name abide. There you shall bring all that I command you, your burnt offerings, your sacrifices, your tithes, your heave offerings of your hand, and all your choice offerings which you vow to the Lord. And you shall rejoice before the Lord your God, you and your sons and your daughters, your male and female servants, and the Levite who is within your gates, since he has no portion nor inheritance with you. Take heed to yourself that you do not offer your burnt offerings in every place that you see, but the place where the Lord chooses. In in one of your tribes, there you shall offer your burnt offerings, and there you shall do all that I command you. However, you may slaughter and eat meat within your gates wherever your heart desires, according to the blessings of the Lord your God, which he has given you. The unclean and the clean may eat of it, of the gazelle and the deer alike. Only you shall not eat the blood. You shall pour it on the earth like water. You may not eat within your gates the tithe of your grain or your new wine of your oil, of the firstborn of your herd of flock, or any of your offerings which you vow, of a free will offering, or a heave offering of your hand. But you must eat them before the Lord your God, the place where the Lord your God chooses. You and your son and your daughter, your male servant and your female servant, and the Levite who is within your gates. And you shall rejoice before the Lord your God, in which you put your hands. Take heed to yourself that you do not forsake the Levite as long as you live in your land. When the Lord your God enlarges your border, as he promised you, and you say, let me eat meat because you long for meat, you may eat as much meat as your heart desires. If the place where your Lord your God chooses to put his name is not too far from you, then you may slaughter from your herd and from your flocks what the Lord has given you, just as I commanded you. And you may eat within your gates as much as your heart desires, just as the gazelle and the deer are eaten, so that you may eat them. The unclean and the clean alike may eat them. Only be sure you do not eat the blood, for the blood is the life. You may not eat the life with the meat, and you shall not eat it. You shall pour it on the earth like water. You shall not eat it, that it may go well with you and your children after you, when you do what is right in the sight of the Lord. Only the holy thing which you have vowed offerings, and you shall take and go to the place where the Lord chooses. And you shall offer your burnt offerings, the meat and the blood of the altar of the Lord your God. The blood of your sacrifices shall be poured out on the altar of the Lord your God, and you shall eat the meat. Observe and obey all these words which I have commanded you, that it may go well with you and your children after you forever, when you do what is good and right in the sight of the Lord your God. When the Lord your God cuts off from before you the nations which you go to dispossess, and displace them and dwell in the land, take heed to yourself that you are not ensnared by following them. after they are destroyed from before you, and that you do not inquire after their gods, saying, how did these nations serve their gods? I also will do likewise. You shall not worship the Lord your God in that way. For every abomination to the Lord which he hates, they have done to their gods, for they burnt even sons and daughters with fires to their gods. Whatever I command you, be careful to observe it. You shall not add to it, nor take away from it. Luke 8:22 through 39. Now it happened on a certain day that he had gotten to a boat with his disciples and said to them, let us cross over to the other side of the lake. And they launched out, but as they sailed out, he fell asleep. And a windstorm came down on the lake, and they were filling with water, then were in jeopardy. And they came to him and awoke him, saying, Master, Master, we are perishing. He arose and rebuked the wind and the raging water, and they ceased, and there was calm. But he said to them, where is your faith? And they were afraid and marveled, saying to one another, who can this be? For he commands even the winds and the waters that obey him. And they sailed to the country of the Gardias, which is opposite of Galilee. And when he stepped out onto the land, there met him a certain man from a city who had demons for a long time. And he wore no clothes, nor did he live in a house, but in the tombs. When he saw Jesus, he cried out, fell down before him, and with a loud voice said, what have I to do with you, Jesus, Son of the Most High God? I beg you, do not torment me. For he had commanded the unclean spirits to come out of the man. For it has often seized him and kept him under guard, bound him with chains and shackles, and broken the bonds, and was driven by the demons into the wilderness. And Jesus asked him, saying, what is your name? And he said, Legion, because many demons had entered him, and because they begged him that he would not command them to go into the abyss. Now a herd of many swine was feeding there on the mountain, so they begged him that he would permit them to enter them, and he permitted them. And the demons went out of the man and entered the swine, and the herd ran violently down the steep place into the lake and drowned. When those who fed them saw what had happened, they fled and told in the city and in the country. Then they went out to see what had happened, and they came to Jesus and found the man for whom had the demons had departed, sitting at the feet of Jesus, clothed and in his right mind. And they were afraid. They also who had seen it told them by what means he had been the demon possessed was healed. Then the whole multitude of the surrounding region of the Gardias asked him to depart from them, for they were seized with great fear. And he got into the boat and returned. Now a man from whom the demons had departed begged him that he might be with him. But Jesus sent him away, saying, return to your own house and tell what great thing God has done for you. And he went his way and proclaimed throughout the whole city the things that Jesus had done for him. Psalm 71 through 5, a psalm of David to bring remembrance. Make haste, O God, to deliver me. Make haste to help me, O Lord. Let them be ashamed and confounded who seek my life. Let them be turned back and confused who desire my hurt. Let them be turned back because of their shame, who say, ah, ah. Let those who seek you rejoice and be glad in you. And let those who love your salvation say continually, let God be magnified. But I am poor and needy. Make haste to me, O God. You are my help and my deliverer. O Lord, do not delay. Proverbs 12:4. An excellent wife is a crown to her husband, but she who causes shame is like rottenness in the bone. All right. We'll see y'all tomorrow.